Hi students, today we are going to study about inheritance. This concept is mainly meant for students under UG students 5th semester computer applications. So, what exactly the inheritance? So, inheritance is nothing but inheriting the properties of one class into another class. It is similar like we people are inheriting features from our parents, okay, like facial, okay, height, color, like that. So, inheritance is the object oriented feature in Java programming language. So, it is also called as easy relationship. Okay. So, what is easy relationship? So, a person, let us assume that a person is there. A person is a student, a person is a teacher, a person is a head of the department, a person is a dean, a person is a vice chancellor. Like that, easy relationship you can call it as inheritance. Okay. So, how to do inheritance in Java? So, whatever the newly created class is called as child class, that should be have features of on its own, as well as it can inherit the features of base class called parent class. Okay. So, new class you can call it as child class, which you are inheriting is called as parent class. Okay. Child class, parent class, like that. Child class also called it as derived class, base class, parent class you can also call it as base class. Okay. Parent is base, child is derived, like that we have inheritance concept in Java programming language. Then you have a doubt, what is the use of this inheritance? Why should we inherit the properties? Because we want to reuse the properties of one class into another class. Okay. And also the accessibility of the properties from one class to another class is also very important, because only one time you are deriving, only one time you are declaring, that time you that properties you are using more than one time. Okay. Like that we have method overloading concept is there in inheritance, and also abstraction is achieved. Okay. This is how you can have a inheritance concept in Java programming. So, how to implement using inheritance? So, when I want to inherit the properties of one class into another class, I must use the keyword called extends. Extends is nothing but already you have something that you want to extend into another class. Okay. So, newly created class, child class or derived class, which can have its own properties, as well as it can inherit properties of base class. Okay. So, this is called inheritance using keyword called extends. Okay. Extends keyword must be used when you are inheriting the properties. This is the example how you can have a inheritance in Java. Okay. So, first of all I need to create a class called calculation. Let us assume that the class name is calculation. So, in calculation I have a method called addition. Okay. Addition. So, what is the written before addition? It is void, nothing but I am not going to return anything. Before it is prefixed as public, nothing but it can be accessible within the class and also the outside the class. Okay. Now, in this method I am going to add two variables to print sum of the given two numbers. Okay. Another method is also called as subtraction, where I am doing subtraction of two variables and storing into some other variable. Okay. Now, this is one class I created, and also I am saying that this class is called what? Base class or parent class. Now, I want to create a new class called derived class or child class. Okay. That child class name is my calculation. What is the child class name? My calculation. So, how I am going to create that? Using class keyword. So, class name my calculation, and also it is written as public. What it means? Public nothing but can be accessible by anybody. So, this class is extends calculations, nothing but my calculation is the derived class or a child class, which is inheriting properties of parent class or a base class, nothing but calculation. Okay. So, in this I have another method called multiplication, okay, where I am using two variables to be multiplied and stored in some other variable, right. Now, I want to access all these member of the function members of the class into a public method. What is the public method? Public static void main string args, where I am writing two variables, a int a is equal to 20, b is equal to 10. Now, these two values I want to send into the previous classes which I created, but here how to send that value? I want to create a object for the class. Okay. What I am doing? My underscore calculation demo. My underscore calculation is what? It is a derived class or a base class? It is a derived class, nothing but child class. For child class only we are creating a object. Remember students, every time we are going to create a object for derived classes, not for the base class, because whenever you call child class, always it have its own properties as well as base class, nothing but parent features. So, here what I am doing is I am creating a object for class my underscore calculation. Okay. What is the object name? Demo, DEMO. New is the keyword I am using to create a object, right. So, derived class class I am creating a object. Now, I am using that object to access all the methods in the previous classes. Okay. What is that I am writing? Demo dot addition. Demo dot addition. Addition is the method lies in derived class or a base class? Addition is lies in base class. Do I am creating a object for the base class? No, I am creating a object for derived class. Okay. So, when I call the derived class, okay, demo dot using demo object, demo dot addition, addition is going to be called from the parent via derived, because derived class is having its own properties like multiplication as well as it have the properties of addition, subtraction, which lies in the base class called calculation. Okay. So, when I said demo dot addition by sending two parameters a comma b, a value is 20, b value is 10 I am sending, that time it is going to be called the addition method which lies in the base class using derived object. Now, it gets control from main main method to addition method, okay, where I am adding two numbers storing in another variable. Okay. Like that, once again I am calling the same object demo, which is created for the derived class, demo dot subtraction. That subtraction method is lies in the derived class? No, it is derived in the base class called calculation. Now, that method is going to be called through derived class. Okay. Now, where I have initialized two variable values, that is 20 and 10 should be subtracted, then stored in z variable. Okay. Now, in that same format I am calling multiplication method using demo object. So, demo dot multiplication. What is demo? Demo is the object of the derived class. Okay. Dot multiplication is the method. So, multiplication method lies in the derived class or a base class? Multiplication method lies in the derived class, okay, where I am multiplying two variables and storing in a z variable. Now, in this fashion I can call derived class as well as base class properties. Okay. This is nothing but inheritance. Now, you can identify how you can write a inheritance concept. In previous slide I said whenever you are using inheritance concept, you should use the keyword extends. So, here I am writing public class my underscore calculation extends calculation. Extends is the keyword must be used for inheritance. Okay. So, this is a single inheritance. Okay. I have put two boxes here which is empty. Okay. Now, single inheritance means one derived class, one base class. one child class, one parent class. Okay. Now, why I put all the two boxes are empty, because you should be identify which class it is. Okay. The above box indicates it is a parent class, below box indicates derived class, okay, child class. Now, the arrow is directed from parent to child. Okay. Why it is directed like that? Because this child class is having the properties of its own as well as the properties of parent class. Okay. So, this is the example given on the other side, okay, where I mentioned how you can inherit the properties of base. So, single base class, single derived class, single parent class, single child class. So, what is the parent class here? ONE1. ONE1 is the parent class, okay, where I defined one method called print1. Okay. Now, the second class which I am creating is called child class. What is the child class name here? Single. Okay. Single is the child class name which is extends parent class name called ONE1, where I am going to create an object for the class called what is the class name? Main obj is equal to new main. Okay. For main I am creating a object. Using that object I am calling the method obj dot print 1. Okay. Like this I can have a single inheritance. Okay. There are around 5 inheritance concepts are there. This is the one which we have. Okay. In that only single derived, single base. Okay. Now, coming to multi level inheritance. So, 3 boxes are there. Okay. I intentionally put these 3 boxes as empty, because you need to identify which class it is. Okay. The first box which indicates parent class, or you can say grandparent. Okay. Grandparent. The middle box represents parent class. Okay. The below box represents child class. So, child class is inheriting properties of parent as well as grandparent. Okay. This is nothing but multi-level inheritance. Okay. One newly created class can have the properties of its own as well as its derived class, and that derived class is also derived from the base class. Okay. Like that. So, how we can have the features of our parents as well as grandparents. Okay. Now, the example which is given in this slide is 1. ONE1 is the base class. Okay. From there I am extending into 2. Okay. I am extending into 2. Now, the 2 is the child class, 1 is the base class. Okay. Now, when I am creating a new class called child, that is called multi-level. Multi-level is the newly created class which is extends 2. What is 2 previously? 2 is also a derived from the 1. Okay. Multi-level is the newly created class which is extends the properties of what? 2 as well as 1. Nothing but child can have the features of parent as well as grandparents. So, like that. So, when I create an object for the class, which class should I create object? For 1, for 2 or multi-level? I need to create the object for the multi-level, okay, which is a newly created class. Okay. Using that object I can call as well as 2 class properties, I can call the properties of 1 class. Okay. Like this we can have a multi-level inheritance. Now, coming to the next type of inheritance is hierarchical inheritance. So, hierarchical inheritance there are 3 boxes here also. Okay. The above box which represents a parent class, okay, from where you are inheriting properties into 2 childs, okay, child class 1, child class 2. Okay. One parent, more than one child, okay, which are inheriting properties of parent. So, here the example which given on the side of this slide, okay, ONE1 is the parent class, okay, the above box, which I am extending into 2, 3. Okay. 2 is the new class created which is extends ONE1. 3 is also a new class which is extending the properties of ONE1, okay, where I am writing 2 methods. Okay. In 2 class I am defining a method called print2. In 3 class derived class, where I am creating a method called print3. Okay. Now, I want to create a object for which class? There are 3 classes here, 1 parent, 2 child. Which object I want to create? I want to create a object for 2. Can I create a object for 3? It is up to you. Which properties you want to access, that you can create, but in both the child classes you have the properties of parent. Okay. Now, you can use object of 2 class to access the properties of 1. Now, you can create a object for 3 which can also have the properties of 1. Okay. Like that, I can create a object for 2 first, okay, to access the properties of 2 as well as 1. Okay. Like that, I can create a object for 3 to access properties of object 3, okay, properties of class 3 as well as 1. Okay. So, like this we have hierarchical inheritance. After this, we have another 2 inheritances where you have a multiple inheritance. So, multiple inheritance in the sense you have 2 parent classes, 1 child class, okay, but we cannot directly use the concept, okay, multiple inheritance in Java. So, we have a concept called interface. Okay. Using interface we can use multiple inheritance. Multiple inheritance in the nothing but you have parent 1, parent 2, 2 features you want to access into a child class. Okay. So, that is the concept. Then we have another concept called hybrid inheritance. In hybrid inheritance, it is a combination of all the inheritances like single inheritance, multiple inheritance, multi-level inheritance, hierarchical inheritance, that is nothing but hybrid inheritance, where you have one parent, from one parent you are inheriting properties into 2 child classes, from 2 child classes you are inheriting properties into the third one. So, what is the problem here in hybrid? The hybrid is the problem, the newly created child 3 class can have the properties of base 2 times. How it is 2 times? One time it is base class properties you are accessing through child 1, okay, and another properties you are accessing from base to child 2, this is another concept. So, 2 times you are inheriting properties of base into child 3. The same properties of base class or a parent class you are accessing into a child 3. So, that is the problem, that is the drawback of hybrid inheritance. Okay. But it may be have all types of inheritances like single inheritance, multiple inheritance, multi-level inheritance, hierarchical inheritance. So, in this way we can have inheritance concept. The main advantage of inheritance is reusability. What is the main advantage of inheritance? Reusability. Okay. Now, coming to abstract class. Okay. What is the mean by abstract class? Okay. Now, you want to hide certain details of the data. Okay. For example, you have some data in a class, that data you cannot reveal to all the people. Okay. It is also can call it as template. Okay. Template. Let us assume that you have to take an example of fruit. Okay. Let us assume that one class called fruit is there. In that fruit, you defined 3 methods. That methods are apple, banana and mango. Let us assume that 3 methods you are taking in a class called fruit. Okay. But you do not want to define anything in that 3 methods. What are that 3 methods? Apple, banana and mango. For all these 3 fruits, you have color and also taste. Okay. These 2 properties of each fruit you do not want to reveal in the base class, nothing but abstract class. Okay. That should be implemented into derived classes. Okay. That should be implemented into derived classes. Like you create a class called apple, you create a new class called banana, you can create a new class called mango, from where you can extend the properties of the base class called fruit, nothing but abstract class. So, in abstract class you are not going to implement anything, okay? You are not going to implement anything, only you can declare the methods that can be implemented further in the derived classes, that is nothing but abstract class. So, abstraction is a process of hiding the implementation details and showing only functionality to the user. Okay? It shows only essential things to the user and hides the internal details. Okay? So, abstract class is 0 to 100%, interfaces are 100%. Now, abstract class is a class declared using the keyword called abstract. Okay? Abstract classes is used to create by putting a keyword called abstract. Okay? And also in that class the methods which you want to declare is called as abstract methods, okay, where you have to use the keyword abstract also. Okay? So, here one syntax is given, okay, abstract class class name, where I am writing the abstract methods. Okay. So, the child class which you want to create, okay, new created child class which can extend the properties of base class called abstract class. Okay. So, abstract class must be declared with an abstract keyword, okay, and it should have abstract and non abstract methods. This is also one point. Now, you have a doubt. Now, I said abstract class can have abstract methods, even you can have other than abstract methods also. You can create your own methods there which are not abstract. It can have constructors and static methods also. Yes, you can have your own constructors can be created in a class, abstract class, and also you can create your own methods in the abstract class, and also you can create static methods in the abstract class. Abstract class which contains an abstract methods, it also be abstract. Yes, it is also a abstract one. So, here one example is given, abstract class as animal. Okay. So, abstract method is sound. Okay. Let us assume that you want to create a class called dog, D-O-G, dog. Okay. Dog is extended animal. So, dog is the new class which you want to create, and implementation part you want to write in dog, not in the animal. Okay. That is why you said class animal class as abstract class, okay, where you declared only one abstract method that should be implemented where? In the dog class, which is extends, nothing but inherited. Okay. So, where you return one print statement called WOOF. Okay. Now, I want to access that method. What should I do? Simply I am creating a object for class called DOG. Okay. So, animal obj is equal to new DOG. Okay. Here I am creating a object for the derived class, so that I can access the methods of animal. Okay. So, like this we have abstract class. One more example is given where I have a abstract class, and also DISP is the method which I am writing in that, but implementation part I am not writing. Another method is also there, DISP2 in the abstract class, where I am writing abstract method class implemented. Okay. Now, I want to create a object for the class called demo. Okay. OBJ new demo. For demo I am creating a object. Okay. Demo is what? Demo is a derived class or a base class? Demo is the derived class which is extends the abstract class called my class. Okay. Now, when I called demo, okay, that demo is overriding, because there are two methods with the same name. Okay. DISP is there, okay, DISP2 is there. When I call DISP2, DISP2 is lies in the demo class or abstract class, my class, it is there in the derived class. Okay. But DISP2 implemented in where? In demo class. Okay. So, that should be printed. So, what is going to be printed? Overriding abstract method, which is going to change the signature of the base method. So, these are the uses of abstract classes. Okay. Shared code among closely related classes that extends your abstract class, have many common methods or fields. Okay. Access modifiers other than public. okay, and also to declare non-static and non-final fields. Okay. This enables you to methods that can access and modify the state of the object to which they are. So, in this fashion we can understand what is abstract. Okay. Inheritance mainly used for inheriting properties of parents into child. Okay. Where we have reusability concept, the properties can be reusable, okay, more than one time. So, there are 5 types of inheritance. What are that? Single inheritance, multi-level inheritance, multiple inheritance, hierarchical inheritance, hybrid inheritance. Okay. Single inheritance, single base class, single derived class. Multi-level inheritance, single derived class which is derived from already derived class which is derived from the base. Okay. Like a child is having properties of parent and grandparent. Then hierarchical inheritance, 2 child classes having the properties of single parent class. Now, the fourth one, multiple inheritance. So, multiple inheritance, 2 parent features can be inherited into a single child class. Okay. But multiple inheritance directly we cannot implement in Java. So, we use interface help. Okay. Fifth one is hybrid inheritance. So, hybrid inheritance is having all single inheritance, multiple inheritance, multi-level inheritance, hierarchical inheritance. Then what is the drawback of the hybrid inheritance? The child class can have the properties of parent 2 times via child class 1 via child class 2. Okay. Now, the abstract class. So, abstract class is nothing but you want to hide certain details of the data from parent to child. So, here we are creating a abstract class. Abstract class is also called it as template class, where you are not implementing all the details in a abstract class. So, you are implementing into derived classes, okay, by extending. So, inheritance concept also you are using in abstract class, and this is the complete summary of the inheritance and abstract classes. These 2 features are there in object oriented programming called Java. So, this can be helpful to create a template classes as well as base classes and child classes. So, what is the main purpose of the inheritance is reusability. Okay. Reusability nothing but the properties which can acquire properties from one class to another class, like child is having properties of parents and grandparents, like that. So, the concept included in Java is inheritance and abstract class. Thank you.